Welcome, everybody. I'm joined by Andy. About a year ago, we did a video on Wonders of the First, the Kickstarter, and the game has been out. We both got our Kickstarters. It's been almost 6 months since the game came out, 5 months or so.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd kind of check in with what's going on. I've opened some product to the channel. We've actually played some of the game ourselves. No one's paying us for our thoughts here. These are totally, unbiased. But it feels like the game has some legs in the sea of CCGs floundering right now. Kickstarters that don't go anywhere. Things that don't make it past set 4. It feels kind of like Wonders of the First has a little bit of juice right now, and I'm really intrigued to see where things go. Andy, what are your thoughts here?
So, I have to agree. I dug into my stuff I got from the Kickstarter. It was really cool. Thought it looked really awesome and glad I backed it. It's a neat game. And, I think that 6 months on from a Kickstarter fulfillment, games usually are kind of at like a make or break point. It feels like, maybe there's a lot of initial hype when the Kickstarter gets fulfilled, and then it just kind of tapers off and nothing else really happens with it. I've seen it a bunch of times. I feel like with Wonders of the First, what you actually see is like a sustained market, a secondary market, really on eBay mostly is where I see a lot of transactions occurring. But, box prices are incredibly steady at about $375 to $425 for a sealed booster box. And as soon as one gets listed, it's sold out almost immediately. Same with the starter decks. They had the little booster boxes. I forget what they're exactly called, but they were 12-pack booster boxes. Those sell out immediately. You can't find the Kickstarter exclusive packs with the tokens, they're gone. And then there's just a bunch of listings of people selling cards, and the cards sell for pretty decent prices, especially as you go higher up in the rarity tiers with color matches and stuff like that. So, I think that that's really interesting to see that it's about 6 months on and it still is a sustained market, because I kind of compare it, Matt, I don't know if you remember, probably about 9 months ago or a year ago, Upper Deck sued Ravensburger, which makes right? And then there was all this big to do about it for 2 days, and then it was gone. I'm sure Disney legal probably quashed that immediately. But regardless, there was this big thing, and they were saying that there was a game, Rush of Ichor or something like that, that was they stole the intellectual property rights for something. I got a targeted ad for the game Rush of Ichor, and it was what? Where did this come out? This came out? I'd never heard of it. And I looked it up. There's no presence online. There's no Facebook groups. There's no Instagram posts, no, YouTube videos. There's just nothing about this game. There's 20 auctions on eBay. Booster boxes are $60. Nobody plays this. Nobody is interacting with it. It's this game came out. What? Upper Deck made this huge deal about this game, suing Ravensburger over it, and 3 people in the world have ever heard of it. You're number 4. I apparently was number 2. And but it's that game came out and it's nowhere, whereas something like Wonders of the First came out and it's actually somewhere. And I think it has legs to it. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff on the horizon as well for Wonders of the First. They've partnered with Star City Games. So upcoming Star City Games cons are going to be hosting it. The first one, it looks like, and I could be wrong, I think there's a couple others before this one, but looking at SCG Con's website, the one in Houston in the middle of October, you got the Wonders of the First icon down there under Lorcana. They're going to be supporting this with organized play. And then as far as I can tell, all of the other announced SCG cons from this point on all have Wonders of the First incorporated with them, which is really big. Star City Games is a huge company. They put on a lot of organized play throughout the country. So being one of 8 different games, Flesh and Blood, Magic, Lorcana, Star Wars Unlimited, Wonders of the First, Bo Jackson Battle Arena, and a couple others, is like, that's pretty impressive. I don't see Russia Vicor up there. And, so like, that's really good. Supposedly there's a second set coming out in the fall.
October, yeah.
Anything like definitive of it, although I probably could check their Discord, which is definitely active. I get pinged like every single day with messages from the Discord. So there's a second set coming out, and to me it feels a little bit more reminiscent of how, say, something like Flesh and Blood was in the summer of 2020. Like, there was like this like simmering, like, oh, there's this game Flesh and Blood, have you heard of it? Like, and box prices have been climbing a little bit. It's been getting a little bit of buzz. And then Channel Fireball, back when Channel Fireball was Channel Fireball, before TCG Player bought them, picked it up and started putting out articles. Then TCG Player started selling Flesh and Blood on their platform. Star City Games started it, and the game literally like exploded over the course of like a week or like 2 weeks in between like August and September of 2020. And I feel like Wonders of the First is kind of like that. There's like this like little like bubbling of like, oh, there's like Wonders of the First, and I feel like a lot of people would be like, wasn't that like Kickstarter game that was like, made like a bunch of money and they put out a bunch of product and it's supposed to be like limited release? Like, yeah. And I just kind of feel like Star City Games picking them up, maybe TCG Player going, a second set coming out right when all of that's going to be occurring is going to be like this like momentum that they need to like really kind of hurdle themselves into this, like, we're on, because the game itself is pretty good. And Brian Tinsman, a lot of credit to him, like, he put out a good game. I'm really excited about it, and I just feel I'm cautiously optimistic for it, because like I feel like it's almost like a double-edged sword here. Like, one side is like, hey, everything went right. Star City Games picked it up. TCG Player picked it up. Second set was amazing. We launched it. It's good. People are buying it. People are playing it. Organized plays rolling. We're going. The other side could be like, oh, there was a delay in product. Oh, Star City Games dropped it after 4 SCG cons because only 15 people showed up. Oh, TCG Player didn't really pick it up.
Yeah, so I think this is interesting. I do think this is a bit of an inflection point, right? Like, and so I also think it's in Target now, the 2-player set. If you can find it, I think it sells out pretty quickly. But I do think what you described is sort of this inflection point. Like, which path are they going to take? Are they going to get the next set out on time, without production issues, without quality control issues, without distribution issues? Or is it going to like run into the problems that many Kickstarter games have of like not keeping the momentum up? I think it's interesting what you're describing with the eBay, because I think it's both. It adds to the sort of liquidity of the product, which is good for any collector. Any collector wants to be able to get rid of their crap and want to get rid of their crap, right? Like, and so having a game that is liquid is a positive. And then also this high velocity idea, right? Where like cards are selling. It's not just like there's one auction a week. Like in some of the games we talk about, there's 5 auctions that, but whatever. It's like Wonders of the First, there's hundreds of cards being sold, a week. That's good. That means people are buying and selling from each other. That's how markets work.
Right.
And there's just like 2 guys that buy and sell from each other. It's not a market. It's 2 guys.
Right.
Like,
no, yeah, I think having it definitely seems like there's a growing market that is being fed by multiple people, so it's becoming a sufficient market where like transactions are actually occurring. So to the liquidity point, like things are moving and things are selling at a rapid pace. And I think that's part of it is collectors want to collect it because it is like, quote unquote, more of a limited product, right? No reprints. They're done with, the first set. But also, like, I think it's a good game. So people want to play it. People want to build decks. People want to, maybe people are really excited about getting ready for SCG cons, coming across the country. It's pretty cool to me.
Yeah, so I'm kind of excited to see where things go with Wonders of the First and sort of this next chapter as they get into set 2 and get, I think, some well-deserved sort of like attention and press and growth. I'll just say from my experience, the team over there has been extremely professional, extremely like we did a video and then they reached out and said, hey, do you want to play this game? We'll send you some stuff. And Andy and I did a video playing the game. That's a level of like, they're monitoring random Joe Schmoes on YouTube like us. Like, we're not a big deal, despite what the viewers may think. Andy and I are small fries. But them like monitoring that, and there's a fire engine going by as I talk, so that's great. But I think like that just speaks volumes about the quality of people and the team they have over there, and that means, to me, maybe they're not going to have quality control issues or delays or like the innumerable things that just happen when you're putting out a product that is going into like many people's hands. I do think there's like this question for me of this limited print run. Like, is nothing ever going to be MSRP again? Like, what is the point of MSRP if there's a secondary market that immediately makes it like 70% more, right? Because I think MSRP for a booster box is like 200 or something on this. And so, but immediately like, it's like, no, eBay says it's 370 and then it'll creep up to like 450. And like, it's almost like, that's the curve. And anyways, I wonder, it's a bigger discussion like, what is MSRP anymore? Like, what's the point if nothing ever will sell for that again?
I don't know. I can't answer that in a video for you.
Okay, I'm sorry, Andy. I thought you'd got to answer. You give me some wisdom here. I'm excited to see the next chapter here. Any kind of final thoughts, Andy?
No, yeah, I think I'm pretty excited for it too. I mean, they seem to be out at different cons. This weekend, it's the very end of July. There should be a National Baseball Card Show in Chicago. Might be in Gen Con. I'd have to double check. It is a small team. It's like a very homegrown team, so I don't know how much they can spread themselves out across Comic-Con and Gen Con and the National, all occurring within like 8 days of each other. But I'm sure they're out in the convention circuit, summer convention circuit, and I'm just pretty excited about where the future for the game lies.
100% agree. All right, guys, that's all we've got for you now. Check out other videos we have if you want to learn more about Wonders of the First. If you get your hands on some product, open it up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will probably come back in a couple months. Maybe we'll set 2 releases, or I don't know, maybe they'll throw us a bone. We can even preview a card that we won't understand. And we'll be like, oh, this is a cool looking card. It's a Rat King.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll catch you later.